I'm Kevin Root. I'm the practice manager for Guildhall Street Surgery in Folkestone. Well, I'm quite a newbie to primary care. I joined Guildhall Surgery in July 2020, right in the middle of COVID. Prior to that, never worked in primary care or any type of care at all. I'd always worked in the corporate sector, and this was just the next step on my career, if you like. So it was during COVID. I got bored. My previous careers had ended some years earlier. I'd been doing some consultancy work, which obviously came to a stop during COVID. I got bored very quickly. I had some years ago thought about a similar role, but that didn't happen at that time. So I'd started looking around for something to do. This role became available. I happened to spot it. I applied, frankly, not with any great expectation of success. Came and met the partners, had a chat through their issues and what they wanted to do with the surgery, which was predominantly business based. I'm not medical in any way, shape or form. And they offered me the job. As simple as that, really. And been here ever since. Started off as what was meant to be a nice part-time role, but didn't last part-time for very long at all. It's very much a full-time role. The practice manager role, be it here or any surgery, is really quite a varied role. I would argue, having sort of worked in industry for over 30 years, that it's quite unusual for a single position to have so many facets to it. So, you've got the day-to-day organisation, of course, but then, you've got accountancy, finance, HR, just every part of running a business, keeping people well organised, and trying to provide the best service for the patients at the end of the day. So it's a very eclectic role, and people coming to the role will find that no matter how experienced they are, and I would probably consider myself very experienced from my past, there are going to be things that you've never done before, which is actually quite a nice thing, to be honest. Could be anything. It could simply be coming in on a Monday morning and deciding to get all of the finances up to date and the bank accounts reconciled, or a whole plethora of HR issues that might arise, or working with the doctors, arranging sessions, how we get the best access for the patients, the maximum number of appointments. I mean, it can be the facilities. We've got a problem with the electrics, or the computers have failed, or it literally is just a list of tasks that is endless. So really, no 2 days are the same. We have a very good team here. I don't have an assistant manager at the moment. That's something that will come with time. But we have a number of very clear teams: administrative, reception, clinical, be it doctors or nurses and what have you. They all work closely together. I work very closely with all of those. It all comes together at the end of the day to provide the service and care for the patients. PCNs was something that was quite new to me, having come from the competitive world. But I think our PCN works very well. We're in a PCN of 8 surgeries across Folkestone and Dover. I've learned a hell of a lot from that group. Bearing in mind, I came into primary care at a time when there was no face-to-face meetings, there was no training. It was, there it is, get on with it. The people I work with across the PCN have been vital to my learning. And now we're coming out of COVID, it's equally vital in the way we're all working at surgeries to deal with the challenges of the years that are coming. It also means the support is there. So realistically, if I have a problem, I know there's someone I can pick up the phone and say, I've got a problem. And what's quite nice is over time, they've started calling me for similar things as well, from my experience. So there's a lot of support there. And then when you go to the wider support, the ICB itself, there's a lot of support. The ICB, the training hub in particular, do quite a lot with the training hub. I can't say I've ever felt, despite my inexperience, that I haven't had somewhere to go to be able to get assistance? Well, the challenges are always going to be that demand is outstripping capacity. It's a long-term problem, and it will be long-term into the future until the issues of particularly clinicians is resolved. The highlights is basically the team. As I said, I work very closely with the team here. They're what make the place tick, frankly. And so working with them, trying to put in processes that work efficiently, which I think we've done pretty well, and having a pretty good morale. Yes, things have been tough. Yes, there is pressure. Yes, there's been COVID. But generally the morale is good. We don't here at Guildhall have much turnover of staff, which is very, very good, despite the challenges. So yeah, that's always my highlight. Oh, that's going to be quite a tough one. Being blunt, I think that over time, primary care will move more and more away from small surgeries like Guildhall to hubs. And as you move to hubs, the roles will change. I think hubs will become too big for the practice managers to be as eclectic as I've said the role is at the moment, and it will become more specialised. You'll have more business managers as well as practice managers, and there'll be a separation between clinical and business and so on and so forth. I think that's the way it will go. It'll take time, but I sort of foresee that's the future. I don't really. I mean, what I'm trying to do here is to develop it so that the next generation take on this, so we have succession in place. Myself, it won't be that long, and I'll have moved on. But and I don't mean that in a bad way at all. So it's not about me at this time.